Actually, I was out of a job, and I called a temporary agency. They asked on the phone if I'd like to play video games. I was like, yeah. They did a phone interview, and I came in for a training for a week, and passed the training and started in consumer service. How I see people breaking into the industry is like through consumer service or the test department. And what consumer service does is answer technical questions on the PlayStation, warranty and stuff like that. Whenever you have a problem with a PlayStation, you call up our 800 number and we'll help you out with it.
Hello, this is Matthew.
I actually started as a tester, and so I knew people who worked here at Sony. And I heard that there was openings here in consumer service. I'm a senior tip writer. Basically what I do is I write tips, hints, strategies, whatever for Sony published games.
I started out working some customer service, and from there I went into their test department after about a year.
I would like to get into game design or going into 3D animation.
What I'd like to do in the industry probably over time is do like produce or games, which like starting as like associate producer, assistant producer. Game design would be really good.
But personally, I wouldn't mind getting into the development side.
I joined Sony about 3-4 years ago with Dave Jaffe. And our first party we worked on together was Mickey Mania, that was on Traveler's Tales. Since then, Dave and I originally started Twisted Metal 1 together. He went on to complete it. I peeled off and worked on Warhawk. My most recent project is Jetmoto, and I've been exec producing over Jetmoto 2 with Brian Wicklum. I'm somewhat prejudiced against producers who have never been through test, and there's not a lot of them. The testers are in a sense a test bed for the guys who've had the game for 2 months, 3 months. And those are the guys, I think, that really are the test of your audience. But for the real gamers, which the industry is getting bigger and bigger, and there are more and more real gamers out there, they want their games to give them an experience, something that lasts.
I don't think a sane person would do this. A tester's responsibility is to basically test the functionality of a game. For example, a product like Crash Bandicoot, their responsibility is to die at every location, test all the TNT crates for dying, test all collision, all the walls, barriers, get to the end of the level, collect all the little goodies, secrets, hints, stuff like that. So basically, they need to check everything. I mean, it's not just play it. Play it is something other than testing.
Because you see so much product, because you live with it, eat it, breathe it, you become exposed to so many different products that you get more experience in a particular genre, in a particular mechanic, than people get in a lifetime of game playing.
If you have your most hated video game, I would say play it for a month straight. If you can do that and continue to play it regardless, I'd say then, yeah, you can be a first-party tester.
Who wouldn't want a job playing video games?
Greatest job in the world.
Very difficult and challenging.
Stressful, rewarding, and I love it. It's the greatest job in the world. More stressful.
Awesome.
Tell me to buy a brand new car.
I can't believe they pay me for this.
I'm addicted to video games.
My job rocks!
That's chicks.
The job's absolutely wonderful.
I love this job.
Oh, I love it. It's fun.
I love my job. It's the least stressful job I've ever had.
It's excellent.
Lots of overtime, but lots of fun.
It's the bomb. Can't beat it.
This is the best job I've ever had.
So working here got me this game.
I think the most that I like about my job is that I get to see games before my friends.
I like it a lot. Like it a lot.
All the jobs start off temporary. Just call a temporary agency.
Well, if you want a job from me right now, I'd say just send me a resume. Hey, Underground.
Underground, cool.
Hi. And here we see the lovely Susan Michelle.
Peace.
Hi.
What are you guys doing?
I'm being ill and playing the calculator.
Cut myself out of it, doesn't matter what you do.
Right into the camera.
Who wouldn't want a job playing video games?
Yeah, just a victory. A little more technical on that. What is the expected response?
Not
That's what I do. I sit there and go, help this game, help this game. Help Jetmoto, help Jetmoto.
No, are you taking a rest?
This is the best part.
I got my thing on.
We'll just put the race over there. What do you think?
Well, I think
His microphone has feet, so where it's not.
We are definitely the hottest thing wherever we go.
oh yeah.
That's a great answer.
What are you looking for?
Looking for some sounds. Hey.
Pay no attention to me.
Okay, how are you? Oh my God.
Hi.
Hello.
What's for lunch?
Fruit Loops today. Well,
You ate them all.
now.
How are they?
Fruity.
Here's the underground crew.
Good morning, guys. Big shouts going out to all the crew that have been watching my videos. My second one I'm pumping out today. Let's talk about my job. Probably some of you are a little bit interested in what I do in Japan and how I earn money and how I go about my life here. Well, it's been a colourful 12 years of working in a variety of educational establishments, from private schools, public schools, direct hires, hacken, contracts, dispatch, eikaiwa, all kinds of shit, man. It's been a long road for me to finally get out of teaching, but that's not technically true, because I actually at the moment work part-time at school on Saturday. And what happened was I basically was just getting sick of the job that I was doing and the industry. And I know I've got one viewer that wants to come out to Japan. Sorry, I think it's walking in my shoes or walking in my boots. It's a 25-year-old guy. He's currently doing a degree in Japan, in England or America, I can't remember. And he was quizzing me about teaching and how to get to Japan. Now, 15, 20 years ago, the main, the main job sector back then was obviously teaching jobs. And there are billions of videos on YouTube about it. And I presume that a lot of people, you know, check all the J-vloggers and the people that are working in the teaching industry here. But actually, my backstory was when I was in the UK and when I came to Japan, I met a guy that worked for Nova, and he was telling me in a very short conversation of how to get to Japan and how to get work here. So when I came here to move, you know, I was like, oh, teaching, really? I'm a car cleaner, you know, I was a car cleaner for Mercedes-Benz. And to be honest, back then, I never really checked YouTube about the J-vloggers and foreigners that were living here. I really knew nothing about it. And I came into this industry quite blind. But as it worked out, think my first school, I think I mentioned this before in one of my videos, that one of these Japanese staff said, you know, you're totally new to teaching, but I think you've got the skills to do it. So back then we had the website Gaijin Pop, which is still around, and I'd say 99.9% of the jobs advertised back then on there were all teaching jobs, and it was the only way for people to really get in, to get a foothold. Even if you couldn't speak Japanese, you know, you could still come out here and work as a ALT, assistant language teacher, or even if you had better credentials, you could come here as a direct hire. And that's it basically, man. It's just it's your stepping stone. I know like a few of the YouTubers have mentioned about this, and you can check all their shit, but what happened to me this year was probably the most, I don't know which way to go today. I always walk this way, guys, so anyway, what happened to me this year was kind of weird, and it kind of worked out, because I know I've started this video off talking about teaching, which actually today I want to talk about QA testing in Japan, but it's better for me to give you guys a bit of a backstory. So I was working at this supposedly amazing school, which it is, but the staff there were just incompetent, arrogant morons, and I was just like, really? I'm gonna be working here? And I was just like, my motivation just totally just wasn't there, and I just wanted to get the fuck out. So it ended up that I started in March or April. It was April, sorry. We worked there for like 3 or 4 weeks, I think, and then all this lockdown fiasco started. Then we were doing Zoom lessons. Then we went back, I think in the end of May or middle of May, and I was just getting more frustrated with the place and with the people that worked there. So I decided to leave. I couldn't take any more, which is kind of a bit of a risky thing to do during the current climate that we're under. So basically, I was out of work. I was out of work for a good couple of months, and the wife was not pressurizing me. She's like, you know, you should do factory work, and I was like, yeah, fuck it. It might be good, man, just to get out of teaching. 12 years of this, man. It drives you mad. So I applied for a job at a chocolate factory at an agency, and it was funny because the guy that was interviewing me said that, can you read Japanese? And I'm like, no, not really. And he's like, well, this job requires you to look at orders, and you have to like pack the confectionery to each box. Without Japanese reading skills, we can't really help you out. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm now incapable of putting a box of chocolates into a box. So after that fiasco, my motivation was just fucked up. It was just like, oh no, I might have to go back to teaching. So I applied for a company, teaching company, which is actually a company that I can't say too much, but I will be on their website, and I've got a testimonial on there because they really are impressed with my work at my current school. So I landed that job, and that was just working Saturdays, year contract, great school, great kids, great staff, loved the place. And then all I needed to do was to find a Monday to Friday gig, 8 hours a day. So I was just constantly checking a website called Indeed. I think Indeed are all over the world. It's a job recruitment website. And I was searching and searching so long, like in the early hours of the morning, because obviously I've got 2 kids and a house to pay for. I was desperate. So I was searching for jobs related to English or no Japanese skills required. And lo and behold, around about 2 a.m. I was searching and this job came up. So the job itself was working for Sony. I don't want to talk about or mention the studio name, but put it this way, I work for a AAA video game studio company, very established, been around for a long time. And yeah, now the job was posted as a games production assistant, and I thought, fuck it, I know the game. It's a game I've played since day one, and let's try. And I didn't think that I was ever gonna get an interview, because I was expecting the interviewers to say, can you speak Japanese, and it might be a bit difficult for me to work there. So the next morning I filled out maybe 4 or 5 there's some questions about why do you like games, what's your history, like how do you deal with under pressure, all that stuff. So we filled it out, and I got an email literally a few days later saying that they wanted to interview me. I was like, holy crap. So I had the interview on kind of like Zoom, and I was so nervous, man. It was ridiculous. So nervous. So I tried to speak as much Japanese as possible, my broken Japanese, which is really bad. And then all of a sudden, my current boss was speaking English. I was like, oh shit, man. So he told me about the job. He told me about the company, blah, 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 blah. Now, they said to me that they were going to wait 2 weeks for the decision. It wasn't 2 weeks. It was 2 days. I think it was a Thursday when I had the interview, and I think on Saturday morning I was offered the job. And I had to wait maybe a month. And I started in October as a QA. Now, for people that are either living in Japan or they see my video and you want to come to Japan and do a non-teaching gig, right now the video game industry, there are loads of jobs now that are hiring foreigners for a multitude of different job titles, such as designers, programmers, engineers, UI, UX, QA, so many. It's kind of crazy because this would have never happened 20 years ago. Yeah. There seems to be a really big spike in the IT sector in Japan at the moment. We have a lot of Indians, Nepali guys. I have a friend that works for Rakuten. I've just made some other friends, an American guy that works for another gaming company in Tokyo. And just some advice about it, because it's kind of hard for me to talk about this because of like how I'm going to layer the structure of like how I'm going to talk about this. So I have an illustration background. I'm an artist, so I have some knowledge of Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, so that helps a lot, because if you're going to be in a video game industry, I have no prior experience about QA. I've literally started from scratch, and it's fine to do that. Probably you might have seen loads of other videos out there about QA and having you don't have to have any formal background, or you don't need to have any like experience or stuff like that. But I can tell you about my experience so far. So in the last 2 months, I've learned so fucking much about the industry. I've learned about how to write reports. I've learned about software like Maya. I've learned about Python, which I want to learn. So what I'm saying is, a lot of people will say, oh, you know, QA testing's a low ranked job, it's shit, and blah 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 blah. But in actual fact, once you get in there, a lot of people that want to get into the video game industry normally start out as a QA for a couple of years, and then they go through the system, they rank up, and it's up to you as an individual on how far you want to take it. But it's definitely not a dead-end job. I've learned more in the last 2 months than I have in 10 years of me teaching English in Japan. It's a lot of technical shit. I'm still new. I'm learning every day. It's kind of weird. So if you want to come to Japan, my advice maybe would be to get a teaching job, get settled in, look for other work. Obviously if you speak Japanese, that's even a bigger bonus. And if you got like tech background, or you've got an artistic background, even better. My company is really good because the staff there are super friendly. We have different nationalities of people working there at the moment, so it's a real nice vibe going on there. You know, it's super relaxing. There's no stress. Of course I'm busy. You might be wondering about pay and all the rest of it. Yeah, actually I'm quite lucky because my job, my wage is really good for what I do. Depends what company you get into. If you get into the bigger companies like Bandai or Konami or Koei or those big companies, you know, that's great. And now, you know, there's lots of these mobile app games. Man, there are so many jobs related to that at the moment. Mobile app QA testing. And My hours are regular, the 7 hours of work, 8 hours. If you want to take QA to the next level, then you're going to have to learn about system maintenance, system programming, and other stuff, which can lead to, I think, what's called lead tester. So there is a chance of you progressing within a company and progressing through doing QA. It's not, each company works differently, and you probably might have heard all the horror stories from like America, especially like Activision. Some of the stories that I've researched on, yeah, some of the American gaming companies, how they do business is, or how they treat QAs is rather shocking, to say the least. I'm lucky because I don't have to really deal with all that stress. I just go in. So, you know, this is what I do when I go to work. Go in, have a coffee, have a cigarette, turn on my computer, check emails, check the message board, find out if there's any problems or if there's any requests I need to do, and then that's it. I just start debugging, I start checking stuff. That's it for 7 hours. Really relaxed. Get coffee when you want, go for a smoke when you want. It's, yeah, cool, really cool. You will be tired. It can be really tiring. Like, it took me a few weeks to adjust to like looking at a monitor for 7 hours a day. Each day is sometimes different. Obviously you get to see how the game's being made. You get to meet really amazing staff people, like artists and stuff like that, engineers. So yeah, man, it beats teaching for me. I probably won't fit everybody's job role, but like for me, it's chill, man. I don't know what's gonna happen next year. I want to get into photography. I want to do graphic design and be more on the artsy side of stuff. But yeah, there are jobs out here, guys, that are non-teaching. I was lucky because if I wouldn't have seen that job post on that website, I wouldn't be here talking about it right now. And what's weird is it's a game that I played from day one, and it was like 20 years later I'm fucking working for this company. And for the first few weeks you are a little bit like, just, you got your head in the clouds. It is pretty intense, but like I said, right now I've settled in. It's just a job for me. Like recently I'm really busy at the moment. I'll be busy today, but like I said, you know, it's not a dead-end job. It depends on how you want to motivate yourself. I know through watching some other videos that there are some QA testers out there that are basically happy with their wage, they're happy with their lifestyle. Then there are other people that just want to progress through the industry. They want to become leads, managers and everything else. And it depends how you apply yourself to the job, like with anything, right? You just gotta get your head down and do the job. And then that's really all I have to say about it, really, guys. It's really chilled, man. I go in, just do my work, just chill. Nobody's on my back. Nobody's pestering me. You know, none of the kids are driving me mad. None of the incompetent Japanese staff are bugging me about grammar questions or asking me to do fucking stupid shit like cut bits of paper out all day. You know, I mean, it's case by case, and it depends on which school you get. But I wish that I would have, I'm 40 now, I wish I'd have done this like 25 years ago. In my 20s, I wish I'd have got into this. Because like I said, I'm having to learn software now, which is a bit overwhelming. But it is what it is, you know. You wanna progress, you wanna get better, you wanna make a name for yourself, you know. You just gotta do this shit, gotta learn, gotta study, like with everything. Japan is changing a lot, and jobs for foreigners out here are changing a lot as well, and it's a really good time for people wanting to come here to get into the whole industry of like video gaming or media, even animation as well. There's a few foreigners probably that work for manga studios, illustrators. Lots of opportunity, guys. To give you a breakdown of my whole history with gaming, was my cousin, he owned a Spectrum ZX. I think that was the first. No, actually, no, going back further. I don't have it actually. I don't know what we did with this console, but it's called a Philips something. It was like this console that had like a keyboard. If I can find the picture, I'll put it in the video. It was a Philips. My dad bought it at a second-hand shop. Had 2 control pads and 1 cartridge. I think it was a Space Invaders game. Had hours of fun playing that back then. And then my cousin, or my uncle actually, we worked for IBM at the time, so his son, or my cousin John, he was into computers. I think he had 2 Spectrums. He had the original one and the color one. And then my friend Joseph Prince, he had an Amstrad, and then I bought an Amstrad, which was the Amstrad 464 Plus. Was heavily into the old Ocean games, Taito games that were out. And after that, I got the Super Nintendo. I think after that, I got the PS1. But actually back then the PS1 was so expensive. I couldn't afford it, because I remember like when my friend, he got one and he had Wipeout, and I was just like blown away by it, you know, because at that time it was all about Nintendo versus Sega, right? Most of my mates had fucking Mega Drives, and you know, I've played on most consoles, Saturn, but I think the PlayStation 1 was the one that really just blew me away, totally blew me away. And then after that, I actually bought the PlayStation 1 a good few years after the release. I think I bought it for like £150 back then. I got it chipped. And then I went to uni, and I blew most of my student loan on a PS2, which actually the release version is the company that I work for now. And then my mum bought me a PS3, I think for Christmas, my birthday, I can't remember. And then I rebought a PlayStation 3 when I came to Japan. That fucking blew up, had the yellow light of death. And during that time I had Game Boys and PSP and I've got a Vita. And then I bought a PS4, like, was it like 4 or 5 years ago? Or 5 years ago. So, that's it. To be honest, since I got back into modeling, I haven't really been playing games. I have so many games that I haven't completed yet, but when I first came to Japan, yeah, I was hitting the PS3 really hard back then. And what happened was, my mum left the UK and she actually sent me the release PS3, which had the smart card slots, and I think it had the USB slots. She sent that to me, and yeah, I now have all the systems. So as you all know, the new one is out. Probably not going to get it just yet. Going to wait a little bit. So many games that I need to play. It's funny when people are like, oh, you're a fucking YouTuber. Oh, that's a nice car, man. Audi A7. So that's it. I'm going to put a little bit of a funny video at the end of this, just so you guys can understand what I do for a living. It's fun, it's great. I go to work, smile on my face, leave work, tired but still happy. So let's see what the future holds, so to speak. So I'll leave it at that, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.